Lamar Jackson, he's a two-time NFL MVP, but he's still chasing a Super Bowl title. Really, he's still chasing a Super Bowl appearance. Mark Schlereth, the Super Bowl winner 3 times. He had a lot to say about Lamar Jackson's production, or lack thereof, in the playoffs. Turn your volume up.
But if you're good enough to be an MVP during the regular season, and in the playoffs, you're 2-4 as a playoff quarterback, you're completing 57% of your passes as a playoff quarterback, you've got 6 touchdowns that you've thrown and 6 interceptions. You want to talk about the definition of mediocrity when it comes to playoff football. Lamar Jackson is mediocre come playoff time.
Woo! Lamar Jackson is mediocre come playoff time. Now, Lamar Jackson does have a 2-4 playoff record for context. I'm going to start with a story, if I may. Shady, my freshman year in college, I had a coach, Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp, I encourage you to YouTube his highlights. Most notably, he was punching a clipboard one time, and he caught himself in his forehead, and so there's blood running down from his face as he's cussing out a linebacker jogging off the field. That was my defensive coordinator my freshman year in college. So I'm coming from this private school, St. Mark's, Dallas, Texas, a graduating class of 75. I don't know nothing about nothing. The first meeting with Will Muschamp, this individual who I know for having blood run down his face on the sideline, he said this. He said, fellas, listen to the message, not the tone. So when I say, shut the bleep up, you dumb bleeper, getting the bleeping B-gap, all I'm saying is getting the B-gap. When I listen to Mark Schlereth.
That's what he said?
He didn't say the last part.
I mean, but
he said listen to the message, not the tone. The point being, like, on the football field with coaches, you're going to hear a lot of cursing. You're going to hear a lot of gyrating. You'll hear a lot. Just doing too much. But half the time, they're just saying, Shady, hit the hole. Stop dancing, hit the hole. Now, he going to add a couple extras to stop dancing.
No, he gonna say just like that.
You know what I'm saying? Stop dancing, hit the hole. Now, the point is just like, Shady, hit the hole. You don't need to do all the yelling.
Right.
Well, the point being, when I hear that Mark Schlereth thing, is, okay, Acho, listen to the message, not the tone. I ain't like the tone. I ain't like the tone. I ain't like the tone at all. But the message, Lamar Jackson does have 6 passing touchdowns and 6 interceptions in 6 playoff games. That's the message. Lamar Jackson's 2-4 in the playoffs. To me, that's the message. Lamar Jackson has 3 total rushing touchdowns in the playoffs. So in theory, he has 9 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I haven't looked at lost fumbles. Though remember, he did lose a lost fumble in the game versus the Chiefs that Charles Omenihu sacked him, and that play ended up turning the tide of the game. So I think the message is fair. I don't think Lamar Jackson is unfairly criticized now. There's a point in time where he was. If y'all remember, coming out of college, shout out to Lamar Jackson for not running the 40-yard dash, because Bill Polian, an NFL former general manager, was saying Lamar Jackson could convert to a wide receiver. This was a Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback. That is unfair criticism. I remember there was a reporter who said that it's unfair for Lamar Jackson to run a zone read fake because of his dark skin color. I want y'all to see the quote in case you have forgotten, and it's hard for me to read that. But he essentially says he's really good at the fake, Lamar Jackson is, because of his dark skin color. That is unfair because of with the dark football and a dark uniform. That is unfair criticism. Like that, yeah.
Wait.
That goes beyond fair.
You were probably still in the league.
Yo, he said that?
Yeah, true story. So, like, that is unfair criticism. Saying Lamar Jackson struggles in the playoffs, that's not unfair criticism. Saying Lamar Jackson needs to be better in the playoffs, that's not unfair criticism. Saying Lamar Jackson's mediocre in the playoffs, that's not unfair criticism. I don't think Lamar Jackson is currently unfairly criticized. But has he been? Beyond the shadow of a freaking doubt.
I can't believe I just read that. That was crazy. Yeah. I need his number, though. I'm definitely going to holler at him for that. I'm going to say, no, he's definitely, it's first of all, yes. Off the rip, yes. Fairly uncriticized or criticized all the time. You look at, even when he came in the league, right? You talked about him being a running back, wide receiver, all these things. He's a Heisman-winning quarterback, right? All these other quarterbacks that was Heismans, that was a first pick overall, we give them grace. We give them excuses. Baker Mayfield, how good is he? Let's keep it real. How good is he? You don't ever hear nobody really talk bad about him. They always make excuses. What? Baker Mayfield? He always has excuse over and over again. Yes, he does. Listen, I don't care what y'all say.
Baker's been raked over the coals a couple times.
Listen. They don't talk about him like they talk about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, he lost this year to Patrick Mahomes. Who else is beating Patrick Mahomes? Joe Burrow in the playoffs one time, and even had a game. They should have lost that. First half was getting smoked. Remember the game?
They should have won.
First half, he was getting smoked, right? Patrick Mahomes, the second half, started getting crazy with the ball, right? Joe Burrow was sacked, broke out of the sack, couple plays. All I'm saying is that for the way that we grade Lamar Jackson, it's crazy because he's doing the best he can. He could be better in the playoffs. I will give him that. He could be better in the playoffs. But a guy like Josh Allen, who I love, I think Josh is better than Lamar, just being honest, right? But I don't think we don't grade Josh the same way we grade Lamar Jackson. Do we? MVP Lamar Jackson, right?
Through time.
How hard you had to fight for your contract? Not your third contract, your fourth, your second. In the NFL, if you're a hell of a player, right, the team that drafts you, 9 times out of 10, if you're really that nice, they are going to pay you without no arguments, right? Here and there, little negotiations, but it's not like a fighting for your contract. MVP had to go fight for his contract. Think about that for a second, though. Pat, even Aaron Rodgers, I can name all these dudes that was great players, right? The second deal comes up and they making them fight for a contract? Look at me. I had to fight for my contract. They knew what it was. So I'll just say this with Lamar Jackson, because I won't go too hard on him because I get upset. I look at a guy like Peyton Manning, who's phenomenal. And he's great, ain't he?
Great.
How great is he, right?
Great.
So let's talk about his numbers for a second, right? Peyton Manning's first 5 seasons in the NFL, right? 0-3 in the playoffs. But we always knew how good he was. Gave him grace period over and over again, because we knew eventually he would turn it over. His rookie season was bad.
Another league in picks.
Come on now. But we gave him that time to develop himself, get better and better and better. Lamar Jackson's not even 30 years old yet. He had a lot of time. He's a quarterback. I just hate they don't keep this same type of attitude with Lamar like they do with other quarterbacks, and I'm tired of it. Simple as that. Yeah, and I said Peyton. I said it.
You just shouldn't have said Peyton, Shady.
Why not?
Why?
Because
Why not?
we talked about Peyton.
Why not? Why not?
2003, January 5th. Playoff problems continue to plague mystified Manning. Because I was like, let me think about Peyton. So I went back and looked up the homework. I did the research.
Come on, man.
Playoff problems continue to plague mystified. Manning was a myth at that point. Like, we didn't even take Manning serious. He was a mystified Manning. Shady, we talked bad about Peyton.
Not like they do about Lamar Jackson.
Well, they never said that Peyton Manning shouldn't be a quarterback.
No.
I do think that Lamar is unfairly criticized, and I think it's because we've never seen anything like Lamar Jackson. We've seen things that kind of look like Lamar Jackson.
We ain't never seen Lamar Jackson, be honest.
He's the only one.
I played with Vic, too.
Michael Vick. We've compared him to Michael Vick. Compared him to Cam Newton. He's not like Cam Newton. He's not like Michael Vick. There's only one Lamar Jackson. For better or for worse, depending on how you like his game, but he is one of the most unique players that we've ever seen in the history of the NFL, and particularly that position that we have a very specific idea of what we want it to look like, even when the position sort of shifts, which it has. Lamar is still an outlier. We want quarterbacks to run more, right? We want them to be a little mobile, not too much, but a little bit every now and then.
Just enough.
Just enough. But Lamar does more of all of that. So he's a really unique player. It's very hard for people to wrap their brains around what it is. What should his numbers look like? How much do we consider his rushing yards and those numbers? Do we count those when we talk about his total statistics? Because obviously when we come to quarterbacks, all right, how many total throwing touchdowns did they have? Do we count rushing touchdowns? With Jalen Hurts, how many of these are tush-push touchdowns? Like, how much of this all really matters? Does it count for the same? We haven't really adjusted our brains to evaluate running quarterbacks yet. We feel like we do because we keep saying we want quarterbacks to be more mobile, but we haven't done it. Even the MVP last year. Do we look at the numbers for the MVP last year and think that they are equivalent to numbers in past years? We don't.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't.
Yeah,
but was there?
They weren't. Though.
Okay, they weren't.
Yeah,
yes.
They were regular.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Is anyone saying that Lamar Jackson shouldn't have been the MVP last year?
We can't. You can't say it publicly.
What you mean you can't say it publicly? Who should have been the MVP last
He's
year?
a voter, too. Well, this is bad for a voter.
Who should have been the MVP last year?
Lamar Jackson.
Why?
Because he was on the best team. He was the best player.
No. Say the last part louder. Say the last part louder.
He was on the best team. He was the best player on the best team.
Thank you. He was the best player
team.
on the best team. Now, he plays the quarterback position. Would we like those numbers to look differently because he plays the quarterback position for the MVP?
Oh.
Yes, but he was the best player on the best team.
In the regular season.
Yes.
It's a regular season award.
I know, I get that, but that is where the criticism comes in.
Okay, but when we're talking about Lamar Jackson as a whole and how he's evaluated, what I'm saying is we're always moving the target for him. Okay, you got to get to an AFC Championship game. Okay, you got there, but you didn't play well enough yet. So that doesn't. I know we said that last year. That's what you had to do at the beginning of the season. We were like, you got to get to an AFC Championship game. He does that, and now it's like, okay, well, You
we
did
do
it, but like we didn't like how you looked in the AFC Championship game. So
Yeah.
now it's not that don't count as a thing.